My sister knocked over my $3,000 wedding cake because I wouldn't buy her a condo for her 21st birthday.
Oops, she laughed. My mom just said, "You know how she gets when she's disappointed." I said nothing. That night,
I canceled the lease cosign I'd filed for her and froze the $12,000 moving fund.
but the real shock hit at 9:42 a.m. the next morning,
when she got the notice.
Our wedding wasn't extravagant, just thoughtful. Small guest list, simple decor, sunset over the lake, every detail paid in full, planned with care.
I saved for it myself.
No loans, no gifts. The cake was the only real indulgence, 3 tiers, white and gold, sugar lattice with Liam and Leah in tiny script, $3,000.
I wanted one part of that day to feel like more than survival.
Kendra, my younger sister, arrived late, hair damp, heels sinking into the grass. No gift, no hello, just walked in with her phone out,
like the moment had been waiting for her. She approached the cake table as it was being rolled forward,
leaned on it, adjusting her earring. Maybe, her elbow slipped, the cake wobbled, tilted, and collapsed. Frosting, glass, gasps. Leah's dress caught the top tier,
cream silk smeared with buttercream and sugared flowers.
Kendra just smirked and said, "Oops." No apology, no regret,
just a smirk like she'd knocked over a cup of water.
My mom, ever composed, appeared beside me. "You know how she gets when she's disappointed," she said, as if that explained anything. I didn't respond, just stared at the mess, then walked toward Leah. Later, in the guest bathroom, Leah and I stood over the sink blotting her dress. "Was that on purpose?" she whispered. I met her eyes in the mirror. Her mascara was smudged, her hands shaking.
She asked me to buy her a condo,
I said, for her birthday. Leah didn't flinch, just nodded. "And when you said no,
she destroyed our cake."
I nodded. "Not just the cake," I added, the last bit of obligation I felt. After everyone left, I sat at my laptop.
The guest list was still open, right next to a folder labeled Kendra Lease Cosign, all the documents and transfer slips.
$12,000 ready to go. I didn't feel angry, just clear. At 1:12 a.m.,
I removed my name from the lease and froze the fund. Then I scheduled a notice to send at 9:42 a.m.
No message, not yet. I didn't need one. This wasn't just about the cake, or the condo. The truth was older. Kendra never asked directly.
She floated expectations just loud enough for others to pick them up. She'd leave brochures out,
forward screenshots, say things like, "Isn't this cute?" And somehow, someone, usually me, would step in. At 16,
she hinted at a car.
I leased one.
In college, she failed 2 classes. I rewrote her appeal letter. She got her scholarship back, then copied the format to apply for an internship with my old employer.
She never thanked me, just took, reused, and made it hers. By 20,
I'd co-signed her lease, bailed her out of eviction,
paid off a dental bill,
and covered a quick trip to Tulum that ran long.
Every time, Mom said, "She just needs a little help." It's been 5 years, she's still getting on her feet. So when her text came a month before the wedding, I wasn't surprised. "Thinking of moving to the east side, found a new condo. Mom said you might help with the down payment." She never asked, she assumed.
The number, $72,000. She said she'd pay me back in a year or 2.
She had no job, no savings.
Her bank app once flashed a low balance alert at brunch,
$3.14. She just laughed and said, "Oops, guess it's lunch on you again." I never replied to the condo text. And now I never will.
She followed up with a TikTok of the condo, marble kitchen,
rooftop terrace, slow panning shot. Caption, "Manifesting this.
Please ignore my broke brother who's blocking the blessing.
LOL." That's when everything shifted.
Not because she insulted me, I was used to that. But because she made it public.
She made me the villain in her story,
the obstacle in her rise, the reason she didn't get what she wanted. I called Mom 2 days later.
I kept my voice calm, even as my chest tightened.
She posted that condo.
I said, "It's not a joke anymore." Mom sighed. "Well, if you can help, I think it would ease some tension. She's been feeling left behind."
I already co-signed her lease,
I reminded her. Mom replied, "You didn't really help."
I paid her moving fund.
She said, "That was your choice."
And there it was, the familiar shift, the rewriting, the erasure. Unless it came with a smile and silence, it didn't count. I remember when I learned to stop reacting. I was 13, Kendra was 8. We were at the beach. She wanted my boogie board. I said no. She cried. I got grounded, not because I was wrong, but because she's younger, she's tired, don't escalate. So I stopped escalating. I stopped reacting. I made myself smaller so everyone else could stay comfortable. Over time, my silence became misread as agreement. My patience interpreted as permission. My boundaries dismissed as bad timing. The cake wasn't just a cake. It was her final performance. She didn't stumble, she retaliated. Because she didn't get the condo, because she could, because she knew, just like always, there'd be no consequences, no real confrontation, just another sigh, another rewrite. But not this time. When I froze the fund and pulled my name from the lease, it wasn't revenge. It was a correction. A quiet, firm no. A door finally closing after years of being left ajar. And I still didn't text her. I waited because I knew the moment the notice landed at 9:42 a.m., they'd finally realize the brother they could always count on had stopped showing up. At 9:42 a.m., I heard the ping. Group chat, fam updates. Kendra. What is this? I just got an email from the leasing office saying the cosigner is gone. Did you cancel it? Are you serious? Then Mom. Sweetheart, I'm sure this is a mistake. Can we please all talk first? Then the call. I picked up. Kendra's voice came fast, high-pitched, wounded, performative. Underneath, I could hear the rage. I'm at the leasing office and they're telling me you pulled out. Do you know what that means? Yes, I said calmly, I do. Silence. You did this on purpose. You knocked over our wedding cake on purpose. Short pause, no denial. That's not the same, she snapped. That was a moment. I was emotional. And I'm logical, I said. So I made a logical decision. I don't keep supporting people who disrespect my boundaries. She laughed. You're so dramatic. It was a cake. Get over it. Then she hung up. No apology, no responsibility, just another deflection, packaged this time as you're too sensitive. By noon, Mom showed up at my apartment. No call, just the buzzer and her voice. Please, we need to talk. I let her in, not to be polite, but because I was ready. She looked around like she didn't recognize the space, like I was suddenly foreign to her. You really did it, she said. I said nothing. She sat on the edge of the couch, clutching her purse like it might escape. You've always been the patient one, the reasonable one, that's what made you special. She meant it as praise. I heard it as control. Well, I said, that version of me is gone. She blinked, stunned. You can't just abandon your sister. I didn't, I said. I stopped underwriting her life. Her voice rose. She's only 21. She's your sister. And I'm your son, I replied slowly, and I'm done being punished for being the responsible one. She didn't cry, she didn't argue, she just stood, smoothed her blouse, and said, fine, I guess we all know where we stand. And then she left. No hug, no goodbye, just the door closing like a period at the end of a sentence. But the fallout wasn't over. That evening, I got a call from my cousin Jordan. Hey, he said, just wanted to say I saw the thread. I'm proud of you. I blinked. Thread? He sent me the link. Kendra had posted a TikTok caption, when your brother sabotages your future because he's jealous of your glow up. 10 seconds of her fake crying. He left me homeless. He always hated me. He's never supported me. This is what happens when you outshine the golden child. The comments were full of outrage and pity. But none of them knew the truth. She was never homeless. She lived rent-free for months. I covered every emergency. I never asked for a dime back. The only thing I withheld was silence. Until now. I didn't post a response. I didn't text her. But I opened an old Google Drive folder, receipts, screenshots, emails, bank transfers, lease agreements, time-stamped, archived. I opened a new email. Subject, for your records, prior agreements. Attached everything. Wrote one line. I am no longer financially or legally affiliated with Miss Kendra, last name. Please see attached for context should any issues arise. I hit send. No anger, no drama, just truth. And for the first time in years, I didn't check my phone before bed. No anxiety, no guilt, just stillness. Because the one thing they never expected wasn't rage. It was detachment. It was clarity. And it arrived quiet, sharp, and final at exactly 9:42 a.m. By Friday, the TikTok had over 600,000 views. She posted 2 more videos. One, crying into her sleeve, claiming sibling abuse. Another, standing in an empty apartment, saying, "He pulled the rug out just as I was about to move in." No mention of the $72,000 condo. No mention of the wedding cake. No mention of 5 years of support. Just curated pain, packaged for clicks. I stayed silent. Even when cousins messaged, "Hey, not taking sides, but hope you're okay." They thought silence meant guilt. But silence has a weight. And mine was finally being felt. We were invited to brunch at Mom's. A family reset, she called it. Leah didn't want to go. She already knew, felt it before I did, that this wasn't a reset, it was a return to the old roles. Me, quiet. Kendra, excused. Mom, the mediator. Dad, absent even when present. No accountability, just, back to normal. Still, I went, because I needed to be sure, needed to know if there was any part of this family that still believed in truth or just performance. The table was dressed in fresh flowers and fake grace, pancakes, mimosas, tiny bowls of berries, like hospitality could rewrite history. Kendra sat at the far end in sunglasses, indoors. Mom moved like a cruise director, smiling too much. Dad said nothing, he never did. And no one brought it up. Not the cake, not the lease, not the viral TikToks. Not the message I sent the landlord, which, according to a cousin, had already cost her the condo. Just small talk, spooned carefully. Until midway through, when Mom finally looked up, sighed like it hurt, and said, "We've all made mistakes lately, maybe it's time to forgive." The room held its breath. Leah touched my hand under the table, not to silence me, just to steady me. I set my fork down. "Okay," I said, "let's talk about mistakes." Silence. "Let's talk about what it means to destroy someone's wedding cake on purpose." Kendra rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, still with the cake?" I turned to her. "You asked for a condo, I said no. You destroyed the centerpiece of our wedding. That's not a meltdown, that's a message." Mom jumped in. She was upset. So was I. I didn't go online and fabricate abuse. Dad shifted. "This isn't the place." "It's exactly the place," I said, "because this is where the manipulation lives. In the smiles, in the glossed over tension, in the let's move on before anyone takes responsibility." Kendra stood. "You've always hated me." "No, I protected you, I carried you, and you turned that into leverage." Her hands trembled, not from shame, from not getting her way. "You made your choices," she hissed. "No," I said, "I stopped funding them." Leah and I left before the plates were cleared. As I walked down the steps of the house I once called home, I noticed something. No one followed. Not Mom. Not Dad. Not Kendra. And that told me everything. We drove in silence, windows down, heat cut by wind. Leah eventually said, "You didn't have to go, but I'm glad you did." I nodded. I needed to see it one last time, to be sure. "Are you?" I looked at her hand resting on mine, her eyes steady in the rearview mirror. "Yeah," I said, "I'm sure." A week later, we moved. Small house, just outside the city. Quiet street. No noise. No guilt in the walls. I didn't tell anyone the address. Didn't update the group chat. Just let the silence speak. Then one night, while clearing out old files, I found a folder I hadn't opened in years. Handwritten notes from Kendra, from when we were teenagers. Slipped under my door back then. "Thanks for picking me up. Don't tell Mom I failed the quiz. You're the best brother." I read them under the lamp, sitting on the floor. And for the first time, I let the grief in. Not for the condo. Not for the cake. For the sister I used to know. The one who For a little while, saw me as family, not a bank account, not a buffer, just her brother. I cried, quietly, fully. Then I stood up, shredded the letters, and took out the trash. Some things aren't meant to be carried forever. The notice I sent wasn't revenge. It was a legal update, a final invoice after years of unpaid service. I didn't send it to hurt them. I sent it to remind myself I was done. But reminders sting more than threats. At 9:42 a.m., Kindra called. I didn't answer. Then Mom. Then Dad. Then Kindra again. Finally, a message. We need to talk. This isn't you. This is her. Her, as in Leah. That's when I understood. They weren't sorry. They weren't confused. They just needed someone else to blame. And since I wasn't bending, they went after the next woman in line. Classic. I didn't respond. Not then. Instead, I stepped into the backyard, coffee in hand, wind tugging at the trees. Inside, I could hear Leah laughing on a call, probably her sister. Something normal. Something real. And I felt it. Not peace, exactly, but the space where peace could grow. By noon, I replied. Not to Kindra. To Mom. Because she needed to hear it from me. This isn't about Leah. It never was. You made choices. Kindra made choices. I made one too. I'm done being useful at the expense of being whole. Please don't contact Leah again. If you want to talk, come as yourself, not as her defense lawyer. She didn't reply. 3 days later, she showed up. I was fixing the fence. Work boots, hoodie. Leah saw the car pull in. Mom stepped out, holding something. A white bakery box. Of course. She walked up, opened it. A cake, 3 tiers, white, sugar roses. Not a replica, not even close. But an attempt, her version of an apology. I didn't know what else to do, she said. I thought maybe. I cut in. Why did you take her side? She hesitated. I didn't want to lose both of you. So you chose the one who screamed louder. Her voice cracked. She was always fragile. You were strong. That word again. Strong. Strong enough to carry. To clean up. To go last. Being strong doesn't mean I don't hurt, I said. It means you expected me to heal in silence. She winced. I'm sorry. I know, I said, but sorry's not always enough. She looked at the cake, then asked, Is there a way back? The first real question in years. I didn't answer right away. Just looked at her, at the box, at the cracked roses. At the woman who raised me, and forgot I was a person, not a provider. Finally, I said, Not right now, maybe not ever. She nodded, no begging, no guilt trips. Just turned, closed the box, and left. No hugs, no parting words. Just silence. The good kind. That night, I threw the cake away. Not out of anger. Out of mercy. Some things don't need to rot slowly. Some endings deserve clarity. Later in bed, Leah whispered, You okay? I thought about it, about all the versions of me I'd been, the fixer, the wallet, the buffer, the silence. And I answered, maybe for the first time in my life, I think I might be. She pressed her forehead to mine. You didn't just leave them, you found you. And in the dark, I smiled. Because it was true. And because I knew, whatever came next, I'd never hand over pieces of myself, just to keep someone else feeling whole.